From speaking to so many kind and helpful people over the past couple of weeks, here is exactly what I've learned about ads on Meta. This year is the year that I'm going to start running ads for my small business, and I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know that I learn along the way. In this first installment of the series, I'm going to talk to you all about everything that I've learned over the past couple of weeks about running ads online. We're going to talk about how to make them profitable, we're going to talk about key misconceptions, and we're going to talk about experimentation. Now, over the past couple of weeks, I've decided that now is the time to start running ads for my business. This is for a number of different reasons. First reason being, I want to find new customers. I'm doing everything that I can organically to find those new customers, but sometimes we need a little boost. The second reason is ads allow you to scale your business quicker, they allow you to make more sales, and they allow you to shift more stock, especially when you have new stuff coming in, which is exactly what I have coming in this summer. Now, ads are a bit of a grey area for small businesses because a lot of the time we want to bootstrap and try and do ourselves. However, a lot of people have wasted a lot of money, including myself, trying to do them incorrectly ourselves. And then the second way is that we run to an agency when we panic and go, I don't know how to do this, and then pay huge management fees for them to then go ahead and do it without having actually tested anything yourself correctly in the first place. Now, my strategy for this is learning how to do it myself. I'm trying to soak up all the knowledge that I possibly can, and then I'll be running these ads myself so that by the time I'm ready to hand it over to someone who's going to manage them for me, I know what works, I know what doesn't work, I know how much budget I'm putting behind it, and I know that it's going to be worth it to pay someone a management fee on top of the ad spend as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. There's 3 things you need to know as a small business owner if you're going to start running ads on Facebook and Instagram. First and foremost, you need to work out what is profitable for you. And the reason this is important is because there is something in ads called ROAS, return on ad spend. And the reason ROAS is important is because it tells you how much money you're spending versus how much money you're making. Now, we're going to go back to ROAS in a second, but first and foremost, what you need to do in order to make sure that your ads are running profitably is working out what your average order value is and what your customer lifetime value is. So I'm going to use myself as an example. Say my average order value is around £40 and my customer lifetime value is around £61. This is information you can get really, really easily if you're using Shopify or any other store. Your average order value is something that your website analytics should tell you. All you need to do to work out what your lifetime customer value is work out how many customers you've had over the past 365 days, and then divide your website sales by that amount of customers. So my average order value is £40 and my lifetime customer value is around £60. Roughly you'll know what your profit margin is. So say for example, your profit margin is 60 to 70%, you'll know roughly how much of your average order value and your lifetime customer value over the past year is. So say your profit margins are between 60 and 70%. You are gonna know roughly how much of that £40 and that £60 is profit. So working back from your lifetime customer value, what you want to work out is roughly how much profit you can afford to give away per order. If the cost of acquisition on Meta is £5, average order value is worth £40, then that is going to be worth it. However, that would be an 8 times ROAS, which is really high. From what I've gathered from speaking to people over the past couple of weeks, anywhere roughly from a 4 ROAS is good. You don't want to be breaking even, but unfortunately in the first place and the first instance, that may be the case while the algorithm and while Meta does its thing and learns what's going on behind the scenes. Which leads me to my next point, and this is the biggest question for me, is point number 2. How much do you spend initially and invest initially on Meta ads? Now, depending on who you speak to, people have loads of different ideas. I've heard that spending £100 a day is the best amount to spend for the best results. But I know for a lot of small businesses, £100 a day can rack up quite quickly. I've spoken to various different people. Some people spend £10 a day, some people spend £20 a day, some people spend £30 a day, £50 a day, £100 a day. There are so many different people spending different things out there. But the thing that I've gathered the most is that the most important thing is to just start somewhere. If you're starting, Meta is learning, it's gathering that data as you go. And when you start seeing results, what you're going to want to do is gradually increase that. Now, a lot of different people that I've spoken to have said that when you get an ad that is performing well to put loads and loads of money behind that. However, you can only increase your spend by around 20% before it starts to overload Meta and it gets a little bit confused. So one of the things that people say is if you do have an ad that's performing well, even though you've only put a minimal amount of spend behind it, you're going to want to either increase that by 20% or duplicate that particular ad and start from scratch and put a bigger budget behind it and see if it performs well. The thing is with Meta is you really just need to test, and to test, you need to start. It might feel a little bit like you're throwing money away to begin with, but this leads me nicely onto my next point, which is number 3, perseverance. Now, this is probably a lesson that I should have learned from the start because I used to run Meta ads years and years ago in 2021, and I wasn't seeing the results from them, so I turned them off. Now, looking back on that data, what I probably should have done is turn certain ads off and experimented a little bit more. But because I had staff who worked for me at the time, they were the ones that were in that day to day. And because I didn't really understand it, I wasn't heavily involved and I just made a decision to turn them off. It's not necessarily a regret that I have, but now that I am deciding to go full steam ahead into ads, I'm gathering as much information as I can because I'm going on sabbatical at the end of this year and I'm hoping to hand it over to someone. But what I want to do is get my ads account and my ads into a place where I understand what creative does best because I'm the one that's going to be doing the creative. And secondly, I want there to be enough data for whoever I hand it over to work with so that they understand what's been done in the past and what works best for the future. I think when we see money going out and being spent on ads that are potentially not returning, you're going to have to think of that as a bit of give and take. And this is how I'm going into it. I have a certain budget in my mind that I want to spend on ads, and it is a bit of a risk, but you will start to see a return. You'll start to see a return on some ads versus more. And what I'm hoping will happen is you will end up getting to a point where the ads that are doing well even out for the ads that are not doing so well. However, you do need to make sure that you're keeping a constant eye on it. And 2 people have said 2 different things to me about when do you know when you've given an ad enough of a chance. So someone said to me 48 hours, make sure that you're constantly checking, seeing what's happening, seeing how many clicks it's getting, seeing how many purchases it's getting. And the second one is that wait until it gets to at least 4,000 impressions. Now, these 2 people have very different businesses. One sells slightly less expensive items and someone sells more luxury pieces. And this person who sells more luxury pieces says, you need to get to at least 10,000 impressions. And this other person over here who sells slightly smaller, and this person over here who sells slightly less expensive items says that at least 4,000. Now, the difference between someone purchasing a cheaper item versus a more expensive item, you're going to impulse buy this. This is maybe more of a considered purchase. So one thing that everyone has said to me is every single business is different. One person might have an opinion, but that's what works best for their business. So what you really need to go away and do is start doing those ads, start experimenting, seeing what does well for your business, and then continuing it through. I'm really excited to go on this journey because I feel like what it's going to do is make sure that I am not just relying on organic social, and it means that I can stop creating as much promotional content for organic and siphon this energy into paid socials, which I believe is going to really help boost my business and grow my sales over the summer and into gifting season. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions for me about your journey with Meta ads, then come and chat. I'm by no means an expert, but I am on Instagram at LucyHitchcock_, and I would be happy to discuss any of the lessons that I've learned with you so far. Obviously, I will keep you informed along the journey, but for now, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please make sure you subscribe, and I will see you next week for another YouTube video all about how to grow your business. Bye.